People aren't studying your words to understand you. They're studying your reactions to control you. That's why the modern world keeps you emotionally activated all day long. Notifications, arguments, bad news, fake outrage, people demanding instant replies, people demanding access to your attention like they own part of your nervous system. And slowly, you stop living from intention. You start living from reaction. You wake up already tired. Not because life is impossible. Because your mind never gets silence long enough to recover. The dangerous part? Most people think this is normal. They think stress is adulthood. They think exhaustion is ambition. They think emotional overload is just modern life. But it's not. It's psychological overcrowding. And in this video, I want to challenge you to something that sounds simple, but terrifies most people once they actually try it. 5 days of intentional silence. Not disappearing into the woods. Not becoming antisocial. I'm talking about removing the noise that keeps controlling your mind. Because somewhere during these 5 days, something strange starts happening. People lose emotional access to you. Your thoughts slow down. Your reactions weaken. And for the first time in years, you begin hearing your own mind again. But there's one stage in this challenge where most people mentally break. And when we get there, you'll understand why modern society works so hard to keep people distracted. The real problem. A lot of people watching this don't actually need motivation. They need recovery. You can see it everywhere now. People are emotionally exhausted before the day even starts. They wake up and immediately check their phone. Somebody upset them online. Work emails already waiting. News headlines screaming panic. Someone posting a perfect life they probably don't even live. And before breakfast, the nervous system is already overloaded. Marcus Aurelius never dealt with social media. But he understood something timeless. The soul becomes dyed by the color of its thoughts. Today, most people's thoughts don't even belong to them anymore. Their emotions are being programmed by whatever appears on a screen first thing in the morning. And the modern world profits from keeping your attention emotionally activated. Basically, your anger makes them money. Your anxiety makes them money. Your distraction makes them money. A calm person is difficult to manipulate. A distracted person reacts automatically. That's why silence has become so uncomfortable. Because silence interrupts the programming. Over the next few minutes, we're going through 5 stages of rebuilding your mind through intentional silence. And this is important. This is not about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming harder to control. Day 1, stop explaining yourself. The first thing silence exposes is how often you explain yourself to people who already decided not to understand you. This drains more people than they realize. You say no to something. Now you feel pressured to explain why. You take longer to reply. Now somebody acts offended. You create distance from toxic people. Now you feel guilty for protecting yourself. So you write long paragraphs trying to make everyone comfortable. Trying to make everyone understand your intentions. And honestly, most of the time, it changes nothing. Because manipulative people don't ask questions to understand you. They ask questions to regain emotional access to you. That's why Machiavelli understood something most people still struggle to accept. The more emotionally reactive you become, the easier you are to influence. Think about modern arguments online. Nobody is listening anymore. People are collecting reactions. That's the game now. Reaction equals visibility. Reaction equals engagement. Reaction equals power. So day one is simple. Stop over-explaining yourself. Not aggressively. Not arrogantly. Just calmly. Short answers. Clear boundaries. No emotional essays. And the moment you stop explaining everything, you notice who was benefiting from your emotional availability. Some people become strangely uncomfortable when they can no longer control your attention. That discomfort reveals more than words ever will. Day 2, the digital void. This is where the challenge becomes real. Because now we remove the machine. The machine designed to interrupt your peace every few minutes. Most people cannot sit quietly anymore without checking something. Not because they need information. Because they've been conditioned to fear stillness. Seneca said people suffer more in imagination than in reality. Today imagination has become an industry. The news profits from fear. Apps profit from addiction. Algorithms profit from outrage. Basically, every time you emotionally spiral over something online, someone gets richer. That's why your attention feels exhausted. You were never meant to absorb this much emotional stimulation every day. Try noticing this tomorrow morning. Before your feet even touch the floor, your brain already wants noise. Phone. Messages. Videos. Notifications. And the moment silence appears, your mind panics. So for day 2, no unnecessary scrolling. No doom scrolling. No emotional debates online. No consuming outrage disguised as staying informed. At first it feels empty. Then uncomfortable. Then strangely peaceful. You start hearing life again. The sound of your coffee. Your own breathing. The pace of your thoughts slowing down. And this is where many people realize something terrifying. They weren't addicted to information. They were addicted to stimulation. But here's the problem. The deeper the silence becomes, the louder your inner world starts getting. And this next stage is where most people quit. Day 3, the danger zone. This is the danger zone. The part nobody talks about. Because once external noise disappears, internal noise finally becomes impossible to ignore. This is where people suddenly want distractions back. Not because silence failed. Because silence worked. You start noticing unresolved anger. Loneliness. Burnout. Memories you buried under constant stimulation. A lot of people discover they're not actually busy. They're emotionally avoiding themselves. And modern life makes this easy. Whenever discomfort appears, distraction is one tap away. Feeling anxious? Scroll. Feeling lonely? Scroll. Feeling empty? Scroll. But eventually the mind becomes overcrowded from years of emotional avoidance. Especially for men. A lot of men were taught to suppress emotion instead of understanding it. Be useful. Be productive. Handle pressure. Stay composed. So they keep functioning while quietly collapsing inside. And silence exposes that collapse. This is why day 3 feels unbearable for many people. Because for the first time in years, there's nowhere left to run. No noise. No stimulation. No escape route. Just you. And this is the exact moment where rebuilding begins. Not when you feel strong. When you finally become honest. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. When was the last time you sat alone in complete silence for 30 minutes? Without touching your phone once? No music. No scrolling. No distractions. Just you and your thoughts. If that sounds difficult, that's not weakness. That's dependence. And most people never realize how dependent they've become until silence removes the escape. But here's the fascinating part. If you survive day 3, something powerful happens next. Because day 4 changes the way people experience you completely. Day 4, the Stoic pause. This is the cheat code. The part where silence stops feeling defensive and starts becoming power. Most people are emotionally predictable. Push them hard enough, they explode. Ignore them, they chase. Criticize them, they panic. But emotionally reactive people are easy to manipulate. Because if someone can predict your reactions, they can control your behavior. This is why powerful people often move slower emotionally. Not because they don't feel emotion. Because they don't surrender control instantly. Imagine somebody insults you publicly. The old version of you reacts immediately. Defend yourself. Raise your voice. Win the argument. But now something changes. You pause. And in that pause, you regain authority over yourself. That pause is powerful because most people cannot do it. The modern world trains immediate reaction. Immediate opinions. Immediate outrage. Immediate emotional exposure. But the Stoic pause interrupts emotional momentum. Suddenly people can't read you as easily anymore. And something strange happens socially. People start respecting your presence differently. Not because you became louder. Because you became harder to destabilize. Day 5, build the fortress. By day 5, silence no longer feels empty. It feels clean. Your thoughts feel slower. Your reactions feel weaker. Your nervous system feels less crowded. And maybe for the first time in a long time, you stop feeling emotionally available to everyone. This is where the fortress gets built. Not a wall against humanity. A boundary against chaos. You realize peace is not something you accidentally find. It's something you protect. And protecting peace means accepting a hard truth. Not everybody deserves unlimited access to your emotions. Some people only contact you when they need energy. Some people only listen so they can manipulate. Some people create chaos because chaos gives them relevance. Machiavelli understood that society often rewards performance over authenticity. That truth feels even darker today. People fake confidence online. Fake happiness. Fake lifestyles. Fake outrage. Fake morality. And the more emotionally reactive you become, the easier it is for that artificial world to shape your identity. But silence breaks the illusion. Because once the noise disappears, you start hearing your own values again. Not the algorithm's values. Not society's expectations. Yours. And maybe that's the real reason intentional silence feels so powerful. It reconnects you with the part of yourself modern life slowly buried. So let's step back for a moment. Because this challenge was never really about speaking less. Day 1 taught you to stop bleeding energy through endless explanation. Day 2 exposed how digital noise keeps your nervous system overstimulated. Day 3 forced you to confront the emotional weight distraction was hiding. Day 4 revealed that emotional control creates social power. And day 5 showed you that peace survives through boundaries. Not perfection. Boundaries. The world constantly demands your attention because attention is profitable. But a silent mind becomes difficult to manipulate. Difficult to provoke. Difficult to emotionally control. And maybe that's why silence feels almost rebellious now. Because silence gives people something modern society keeps trying to take away. Inner control. If you've been feeling emotionally exhausted lately, maybe your mind doesn't need more motivation. Maybe it needs less noise, less reaction, less stimulation, less emotional overcrowding. Because the strongest people are not always the loudest. Sometimes the strongest person in the room is simply the one who no longer reacts to everything. The one who protects their peace instead of performing for attention. The one who stopped giving the world unlimited access to their nervous system. And maybe that's what the silent fortress really is. Not isolation. Not disappearing. Just finally deciding your mind deserves protection too. So let me ask you something honestly. Which day in this challenge would be hardest for you? Day 1? Day 2? Day 3? Day 4? Or day 5? Tell me in the comments. And if this video connected with something you've been quietly feeling for a long time, subscribe to Stoic Craft. Because in a world addicted to noise, learning how to protect your mind may become one of the most important skills of your life.